Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verses 1 to 14. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to uproot. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to tear down, and a time to build. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones, and a time to gather them. A time to embrace, and a time to remain from embracing. A time to search, and a time to give up. A time to keep, and a time to throw away. A time to tear, and a time to mend. A time to be silent, and a time to speak. A time to love, and a time to hate. A time for war, and a time for peace. What do workers gain from their toil? I have seen the burden God has laid on the human race. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart, yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do good while they live, that each of them may eat and drink and find satisfaction in their toil. This is the gift of God. I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it, and nothing taken from it. The word of the Lord. These days, time is a complicated matter. To those working right now, it must feel as if time is passing unforgivingly quick in the midst of chaos, while students like myself probably feel the opposite. To my friends, there's too much time, yet there wasn't enough of it when it counted. To my family, there's too little time to provide for us and our relatives. To me, time has been all of these. There have been days I spent during this shelter-in-place feeling disappointed that my expectations of being a second semester senior couldn't be met, just as I know most every other senior in the world feels. On these days, I'd resign myself to falling behind on schoolwork, closing my bedroom door to my family, or declining a FaceTime call from a best friend. However, there have also been days I spent getting in touch with a childhood friend, doing chores to help my family while listening to favorite music of mine, or cleaning my room that I had previously neglected out of busyness when I was too absorbed in extracurriculars throughout the year. I grew to recognize that we're allowed to have days and nights that aren't necessarily productive, and that is as okay as having days and nights that are productive. You and I are allowed to crave alone time, just as we crave time for socializing. We're allowed to feel sorrowful over something just as we are allowed to feel joyous over something else, so long as we maintain the mentality that both are important, and so long as we maintain empathy for others that are encountering different experiences as well. As it is written in Scripture, there is a time for everything. God acknowledges your experiences and your feelings, and He has made everything beautiful in its time. Just because the latter part of my class's final year isn't going as anybody expected, that doesn't immediately equate to a bad ending to high school. I've been witnessing all of the thoughtful gestures and events being organized by friends and faculty in our community, and it means something. It's inspiring to know that something special can come from unfavorable situations too. So yes, there are times to feel hopeless, but know that it's not foolish to feel hopeful sometimes too. Whether you use this time now to rewind and reflect, to skip and advance yourself, or to simply pause, remember that everything will be all right because everything will have its time. With God's grace and in God's time, everything will be truly beautiful.